Janice Udell tells me that she knows a lot about Mac the Cloud. And this is very mysterious, and I'm anxiously awaiting for him to reveal his mysterious self. But Mac McCloud is a poet, and Janice Udell is going to do a little small introduction, and then Mac is going to either present, perform, or read some of his fine poetry. Here's the last man in the United States who knows how to read. Anyway, Janice, well, we know that's not what Janice and Mac.
No, I don't have a whole lot to say. I was just going to say this is my friend Mac McCloud.
Yay!
He's an artist and poet, and he lives in the Santa Fe County in downtown LA.
All right.
Oh my God, I don't know.
I want you to do 5 poems, and they're all recent. I've written about 15 poems in the last 25 days, so I'm just going to do some quick ones. Pretty difficult to relate to the future since it's so threatening. So I guess the future is really a part of what we all are anyway, including the poetry readings. This is called Simply Scrumptious Steamed Vegetables. Broccoli, you have saved my life, even raw the way you were. Crunchy emerald jeweled clusters, not as pungent as those boiled Brussels sprouts. Sporting all those scientific fibers inside, crisp like asparagus, fresh cooked microwave. Now that we're into saving lives, even in the face of aging. Within an age of fear and violence, or so they say it is, a generation turned against their 1960s children. String bean and spinach lovers all. I can't eat butter myself. Vegetables love and support their families. They nurture the young. They embrace growing up together. They glow like carrots, squash, happy, cheap, and abundant. Full of good things, eyes and metabolisms. Seed in the ground, they grow free, rooted in the earth. Give us sustenance. Each one tastes different. And you can add a little fresh basil or thyme and eat it up like today. Vegetables are tasty like reality. I call myself Mac McCloud. It's a name I made up about 15 years ago when I was on a psychological cliff, and I think I'm still falling. But, I made up a song called the McCloud Hiking Song. I have forgiven myself everything. No longer shall I carry that accumulated past, that excruciating giant, one more inch. I am free. I will climb the paths in the same direction, but without the ancient predilection. The mountain is the... I feel honored to be on the program with Judith. I thought her poetry was extremely lovely and very beautiful kind of thinking that unfortunately I don't have. I have no tradition. I was born in Los Angeles and raised in a suburb where there is no ethnicity. It's virtually a neutral zone. And I'm a mongrel Scot, a mixture of Scot, English, French, and who knows what else. So it's a kind of a wonderful place to start, having nothing. And then the decay of harmony, countless separations, where we live and clothed in urban security, watching it rush by from our concealed place. Quite livable if you're not rich or overly vulnerable. A monastic existence with a TV wired in. Poets hooked to cable like a long, thin tube from central headquarters. Stars think this today. Beckoning universals like sports, wars, beer. Drama of existence to live vicariously as much as possible. Work becomes pleasure. Art, the arrogance of focused time. The same with private love. Sharing the release from relentless situations. Discover your consciousness again. Altered, fragmented, feathered, dazzling epiphany, where it is all laid on you with a force you cannot know. In fact, don't even want to know. Syntax altering parameters I invent who I reach for. You, beloved, rocking like the gondola up the Albuquerque ridgeline, each lurch reassembled structure, bound branches, revealed directions as it swings away, lifting silence. I breathe the night, the dream as it surrounds us. I don't know if you folks know Robert Arneson, the great ceramic sculptor who died about terrible lung cancer about a year ago. Probably one of the most important ceramic sculptors of the 20th century. We taught in Davis. Part of my background is clay, and I still work with clay, and so I felt often close to Robert because he set such a great example for us all, a man who had incredible poetic allegories that he was able to produce with an enormous comic sense. So I wrote a little poem about him called Buried Under the Ruins, which is an elegy for Robert Arneson. And I'll just explain briefly that one of Robert Arneson's pieces was a great red brick wall, which had crumbled as though it were like, it had been blown up in a bomb. It was all just laying in fragments around on the floor, all this dust and crashed brick. And among the fragments was a bust of Robert Arneson, all covered with dust. And so Buried Under the Ruins refers to that piece. Of all the times that tumbled down, the wall breaking into allegorical pieces, dust covering everything, the big smile of the fundamental tragedy, the things that happen, the cosmic comedy of it all as our idols bite the dust, or emerge, pant covered with oil paint and sardonic ghosts that haunt and rave. Look, here it is in front of you, a burlesque bitten by surrender, and you get to guess why. Here's the suburban house in the VW van. Here's the bomb of annihilation. Here is Bob Arneson as Jackson Pollock. George Moscone as Nebuchadnezzar. Here's the wise guy grin. Time is all too short and the world too wide. That part of his drawing everyone can understand. This power projects outward, bows, smiles slightly, stands mute in final resignation, spirit liberated to the world. His mark, deep and solid, his work knows all of us as we stand amazed beside the ruins. I'll finish up with one final poem. I'm looking for it. Yeah, here it is. It's an interesting poem. I haven't read it in public before, so if you have any feedback, what to do with being raised in out in San Gabriel, where I grew up on the east side. And it was a pretty rural scene when I was a kid. It was all orange groves and washes and things like that. So the mockingbird, which did he remember? Apple pie cooling on the windowsill, or the sight of the neighbor's house being sucked down into the flood? Life sounds much better when it is part fiction, especially when the only reality is money and you reject that predilection. With the flood, all you can do is watch it, especially if the dam breaks. An apple pie, ephemeral as philosophy, waits for no one. Licking those lips. But Americans eat too much sugar anyway. Do we have time to talk about diabetes? Lingering in the past, those lessons in forgiving ease tensions, give us footing in the rapids. We struggle with the vehicles of the heart. Once you left school, you jumped right into it. Forgiving is distancing. But why plead ignorance? We wanted it that way, self-destructive, tearing out that energy. Some nurturing families, buying houses, raising children. Life among trees. That dimension held us together through 3 wars and a disastrous depression. Brand new music, contemporary dance and poetry for years after the wreck. Through the night, nights beckon. The mockingbird's song describes the hours of mating far beyond his pepper tree. The train whistles out in the valley. You can hardly hear it from the cars. What do we do after this except meditate while we wait? Sing for our friends. Sleep with a dream of our lover. Hope for the best and let go of it all